Okay, I think we are good to start. So, hello everyone, a very warm welcome and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, according to your time zones, to all of you joining us from different parts of the world today. Dear authors, distinguished session chair, and esteemed guests, welcome you all to technical session 10C. I am Yashita and I'll be your moderator for this session. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, I extend a heartfelt welcome to the 10th World Conference on Information Communication Systems, Software Security and Sustainability, which is World S4 2026. So, this landmark 10th edition of this conference is being conducted in a hybrid mode, while the physical conference took place yesterday in London. And we are delighted to connect with you all virtually through Zoom on 29th and 30th of July. And we have an exciting lineup ahead, and I'm sure that we'll have some insightful discussions and innovative ideas. So, a few quick session guidelines before we start. We will be having a total of six paper presentations today, and each presenter will be given 10 minutes for their presentation, followed by 2 minutes for question and answers. And I will be giving a 9 minute at the 9 minute mark, I will be giving a gentle reminder so that everyone can wrap up comfortably. We kindly request everyone to stay connected with us till the closing remarks. And if you have any questions, technical issues, or updates during the session, please feel free to use the chat box. Me and my co host will be addressing them. So, before we begin, it is my honor to introduce you all to the session chair for this session. We have Dr. Deepika Saxena, who is an associate professor at Purnima University, Jaipur, with over 15 years of teaching experience. Her areas of expertise include cybersecurity, container security, and cloud computing. She is an active member of ACM and IAENG, contributing to teaching, research, and professional activities in her field. So, welcome to the session, Dr. Deepika. Would you like to say something to start the session?
Thank you so much, and it is very pleasure to attend this event. And I request to all that all the best for your this great research conference, and give your best. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for those kind words. So, we will begin with today's lineup of presentation. So, our first presenter is Claudio de Souza Baptista. Sir, are you present in the session?
Well, hi, and my name is Eliani, and I'm on behalf of the process professor to
Okay,
present
are you
the
one of the co-authors with him?
not this one, the first one, no, but I'm co-author of the second, the paper on his name.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, there are two
Yes,
papers.
yes,
Okay, so for this
is
one, who will be presenting?
me,
For
the
both
two.
papers, you will be presenting.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, 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 sure. You can start presenting.
Okay,
And a small request to all the presenters that we are time bound. So we have to conclude the presentation within 9 to 10 minutes so that we will be left with some time for question and answers. So I request
okay,
everybody to please finish in 9 to 10 minutes strictly. So you can start, Eliane.
yes, I'm sharing the screen.
Yeah.
You can see that, right? The
Yes.
presentation. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Eliane, and I'm a researcher at the Information Systems Laboratory at the Federal University of Campina Grande in Brazil. And today I'm presenting this work on behalf of the Professor Claudio and our research team at the university. So I'll present our paper titled An Approach to Support Overpricing and Underpricing Auditing and Public Procurement. So, courts of accounts in Brazil monitor how public money is spent, and however, auditing public tenders is becoming increasingly difficult because procurement processes are growing in number and complexity. And auditors must identify overpricing, which wastes public resources, and underpricing, which can lead to poor quality work or unfinished contracts. And this is especially difficult in construction projects, where descriptions are often inconsistent and prices vary across regions and periods. In addition, the budget spreadsheets may contain items with abbreviations, regional terms, and missing information. And since traditional keyword searches cannot easily recognize synonyms and different descriptions, the automated tools are needed to support artists in this task. So, to illustrate this limitation, consider these two items. The first is concrete pipe DN600 versus 600 millimeter diameter reinforced concrete drainage pipe. A traditional keyword search or lexical search often fails to match these items because the tokens do not match. But semantically, this represents the exact same construction service. So, effective public auditing is essential to guarantee transparency, accountability, and proper use of public funds. And driven by this context, our core research question is: how can semantic search support procurement auditing by accurately matching heterogeneous items against historical cost databases? So, to address this, our goal was to develop and evaluate a semantic retrieval approach integrated to a software tool. Our objectives include matching procurement items with historical market records, assisting in overpricing and underpricing detection, and reducing auditors' manual effort, and generating visual reports for decision support. So, this is our general item matching process, the solution. And the auditors input a requirement spreadsheet. And if an official item code is present, an identification, the tool executes an exact search. If no code is available, it performs a dense vector search over textual descriptions. Elasticsearch ranked these candidates by cosine similarity, and the top match is accepted if its score meets our threshold of 0.85. So, architecturally, our system uses a web front end, a RESTful backend layer, Microsoft SQL Server, and Elasticsearch. And a key feature is our continuous data updating pipeline. Web scrapers periodically collect official cost databases, and the backend processes inputs spreadsheets and generates audit reports with diversity flags and ABC curve visualizations. For our reference data, we integrated Cycro and Sinap, the primary public construction benchmarks in Brazil. And our data set spans from 2023 to 2024, containing 8,630 Cycro items and 4,973 Snappy items. And this historical stores allows bid values to be compared against time and location-specific market baselines. In summary, our tool operates on a dual-mode search workflow, an exact search triggered whenever structural reference codes exist, and a dense vector search using sentence transformer embeddings with the cosine similarity threshold of 0.85 for textual descriptions. To evaluate this symmetric retrieval effectiveness, we tested 100 items descriptions from Sinap and 100 from Cicro, and ground truth relevance was established via manual validation. Ranking quality was measured using normalized discount cumulative gain and DCG across top K from 1 to 100, and we compared 4 of the shelf pre-trained transformer models without domain fine tuning. So, Labase, All-Mini, MPNet, and Quora. As shown in the table, All-Mini achieved the best overall performance across both datasets, followed closely by MPNet. Multilingual models like Labase and Quora show lower accuracy on special technical terms. And the key takeaway is that lightweight sentence transformer offer the optimal trade-off between ranking quality and computational speed for large-scale audits. We validated our application through a case study using public tenders from Paraíba, the state from Brazil, and the tool automatically generates spectrum reports featuring ABC curve analysis. And since Class A items usually account for 80% of the total budget value, this visualization allows the auditors to immediately prioritize high impact items and spot significant price divergences. Well, in summary, our main contributions are reducing the reliance on exact keyword matching through the embeddings, demonstrating that lightweight models capture semantic nuance at low latency. The help for authors in partial automation by the discrepancy detection and the ABC curve for prioritization, and integrated and continuously updated historical dataset, Cicro and Synapse. So, for conclusions and future work, combining semantic retrieval with official reference data like Cicro and Synapse significantly enhance audit speed, accuracy, and scalability. And for future work, we plan to test advanced embedding models with domain-specific fine-tuning, integrate large language models to resolve complex items ambiguities and measurement using mismatches, and post filtering by item treats and connect directly with the systems used by the cores of accounts. Well, thank you for your time and attention, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Okay, Deepika ma'am, any questions from your side?
Aline, can you explain your data set? How what type of data set you are getting? Like that is the uh, type one data or type two data? Like it is the secondary data or a primary data?
Can you repeat the final of the question? Actually, I can hear well from
Actually,
here.
I want to know about the data set. That data set is from the primary or secondary data.
The data set is like actually a official database from the government,
Hmm.
and with the reference actually is a reference from all those service and material for construction services.
Okay, and it was from 2023 and 24 data, no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, 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 okay. Yashita, done.
Okay, so the second presentation also Ilyani is going to present, right?
Yes, I'm gonna change
Yes.
the
Yeah, so you
presentation.
can
1 minute.
continue with the second.
Okay.
Yes, so the paper title is Automating Procurement Compliance Checklists with Large Language Models, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. You can see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, good morning, everyone. I'm Eliani, one of the authors of the paper Automating Procurement Compliance Checklists with Large Language Models. And I'm from the Federal University of Campina Grande, and our work was also developed at the university's Information Systems Laboratory in conjunction with the Federal Institute of Paraíba. So, requirement auditing is essential for transparency, efficiency, and accountability in the public administration, especially in contracting processes. And at the courts of auditors, they analyze large volumes of documents, such as bid notice, contracts, and terms of reference to verify the legal compliance and identify the irregularities. One of the activities involving document analysis is the bidding checklist, which contains questions to validate all the requirements established for the process design and to prevent inconsistencies. The problem is that tender documents are typically lengthy and complex. The auditors need to locate deadlines, clauses, qualification requirements, payment terms, and other pieces of information. And furthermore, there's a large volume of cases related to the limited number of auditors available for this. So, manually filling out checklists is time consuming and prone to errors and omissions. This creates an opportunity to use large language models to locate evidence and support the analysis process. Given this scenario, the objective of the study was to evaluate the use of large language models to assist in filling out standard audit checklists. However, the study does not merely assess which models yield the best results. The key issue is how the document should be presented to the model. Therefore, we compared three contextualization strategies: an expanded context window, an integrated file retrieval tool, and a retrieval augmented generation, a RAG pipeline, developed specifically for the experiment. So to conduct the experiment, use 50 PDF format tender documents relating to requirement process published between 2023 and 2025, and the documents were obtained from official sources at the State Court of Auditors of Acre, and we utilize uh, 736 responses previously recorded by the auditors, and these responses serve as a benchmark for evaluating the classification generated by the models. Each instant of the experiments for the experiments represents a combination of a tender document, a checklist question, and the response recorded by the auditor. We use 16 frequently asked questions from the checklist who were presented at least 80% of the analyzed process in accordance with the Pareto principle. And these questions were categorized into two groups: factual and interpretative. The factual questions rely primarily on locating explicit information, and the interpretative required connecting different excerpts, assessing the sufficiency of information, or identifying potential omissions. About our approaches, the first one is integrated file retrieval, and we use GPT-5 with the file search tool. The service itself performs semantic and lexical searches to identify the excerpts deemed who are relevant to answer the question. The second strategy is the expanded context window, and in this case, the full content of the public notice is sent directly to the model. And the Gemini 2.0 Flash, Gemini 2.5 Flash, and Gemini 2.5 Pro models we use for this. The third, and in this case, the public notice was split into fragments, converted into vectors, and stored in a vector database. And for each question, the systems retrieve the most relevant fragments and send them to the model. For these, we use Llama 4 and DeepSeek R1. Regarding execution, the process begins with the public notice in PDF, and next the context is prepared according to one of the strategies being evaluated. And then a checklist question with the context is sent to the model. The model must respond with only yes or no, but is also required to provide a justification based on the public notice sent. And the response is compared against the ones previously recorded by the auditor. And finally, the performance metrics are calculated. The same prompt was used for all runs, is the one on the right side of the presentation. And the model assumed the role of an auditor specializing in public procurement and was instructed to rephrase the question, analyze the evidence, provide a binary answer, and justify its decision using excerpts from the document. Additionally, for all models, the temperature was set to 0 to reduce response variability. The models were evaluated quantitatively using classic classification metrics, so precision recall, F1 score, and occurrence. And these metrics were calculated separately for yes and no responses, as both of those response types represent distinct difficulties. And a qualitative analysis of justifications was also performed, verifying whether the evidence present was relevant, verifiable, and truly related to that question. So for the overall results, for the yes class, the best results was achieved by Gemini 2.0 Flash and F1 score and recall. This model received the full documentation by the expanded context window. These results indicate that access to the full text facilitated the confirmation of information who were specifically present and the public notices. Since the information may be distributed across different parts of the document, limiting the context could result in missing an important except. And for the no class, GPT-5 file search achieved the highest recall. This means the strategy successfully identified a larger proportion of cases involving potential omissions or nonconformities. However, the F1 score for the no class remained low across all models. Therefore, although some strategies demonstrated higher sensitivity in identifying omissions still resulted in many errors. So the results reveal a trade-off. The full document facilitates the confirmation of evidence, whereas retrieval strategies tend to be more conservative when clear evidence actually is not found. Question type had a strong impact on performance too. Factual questions, which require locating the explicit information, produce more stable results. And contracts, questions involving interpretation, multiple text sections, or missing evidence were more difficult. This challenge was especially clear for no answers, since the model had to determine that relevant information was absent or incomplete, and therefore performance depends not only on the model and retrieval strategy, but also on how the question is written.
Eliane, a quick reminder for you that you will have to wrap up in next few seconds.
Yes, I'm finishing.
Yeah.
Uh, the performance depends on not only on the model and retrieval, but on how the question is structured. Well, by conclusion, no single strategy performance was best in every scenario. We saw that on the results. And for future work, we'll explore question decomposition, uncertainty estimation, balancing data sets, omission detection prompts, and improved retrieval methods. Well, thank you for your attention. Sorry about the time, and I'm open for questions.
Yes, Deepika ma'am, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eliane, for presenting.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank
Yes.
you for you guys.
So our next presenter is Ahmed Belgaid. Ahmed, are you present in the session?
Yes, hello everybody. Yes, I'm the next one. Just
Yes, so he's here to present his paper titled as Digital Accessibility as a Lever for the Inclusion of People with Disabilities. What are the
Okay,
contributions of WCAG standards? So you can start
yes,
presenting, Ahmed.
okay. So I'm going to share my. Is it okay for the presentation, PowerPoint?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizer of this international conference for the quality of the event and for the opportunity to participate. I would also like to express the reviewers for the time dedicated to reading and evaluating my article. Their feedback will contribute to improving my this work. And digital transformation has profoundly changed how organizations work. Today, the use of digital tools has become essentially for collaboration, accessing information, and performing professional tasks. This evolution, however, raises a crucial question. Are this digital context truly accessible to all employees? This issue is particularly important for visual impaired people who have difficulty using digital application and platforms. Digital accessibility is a key driver of inclusion within organization. And in this article, we propose to study this issue by analyze the new WCAG standards. Our goals is to demonstrate that digital accessibility is not limited to simple technical adaptation of tools, but is part of a global approach involving the stakeholders within the company for a truly inclusive digital transformation. So, before diving into the topic, let me briefly expose the structure of my presentation. I will begin by providing an overview of the disability in the Moroccan context, highlighting some case statistics and challenges. Then I will explain why accessibility and digital workplace has become a fundamental requirement for creating an inclusive environment. In the third part, we will explore the role of digital accessibility in professional inclusion and how it can foster equal opportunity for people with disability. After that, I will introduce the four principles of accessibility design, WCAG 2.1, which serve as their international reference for accessible digital design. I will then present the accessibility audit. Finally, I will conclude with inclusive HR practices and stakeholders engagement, presented practical recommendation to support sustainable digital inclusion. In Morocco, disability is still an important social and workplace subject. And according to national data, people with disability in Morocco represent about 6.8% uh, of the population. And among them, 23.8% have a visual impairment. This number shows that disability is not a minor problem. It's a challenge that concerns society, organization, and economy. People with disability also face difficulty in finding a job. The unemployment rate among them is 47.65%, which is almost four times higher than the national employment rate. This situation shows that many barriers still limit their access to professional integration. When people talk about disability and accessibility, they often think First, about physical disability. In many cases in Morocco, disability is linked in to the image of person using a wheelchair. As a result, accessibility is often reduced to physical solutions such as a ramps, elevator, or adapting building. These solutions are important, but they can hide other types of disability like visual, hearing, or cognitive impairment. Accessibility is uh, usually seen as a physical issue, where digital accessibility receives much less attention. Today, access to information, communication, training, and work tasks depends more and more on digital technology. When digital tools are not accessible, they can become a source of exclusion. For employees with visual impairment, difficulty in using application, platform, or digital documents can limit their participation, their performance, and their career opportunity. The, the purpose of this presentation is to draw attention to a topic that is still not widely discussed in Morocco: digital accessibility. We believe that inclusion is not only about removing physical barriers, it's also about removing digital barriers for some employees from only taking part in working life. More specifically, our research shows that digital accessibility can be a powerful tool for the professional inclusion of people with visual impairments. By making digital application platforms and work tools accessible through international standards such as WCAG 2.1. Organization can improve autonomy and performance for these employees. In the end, digital accessibility does not only help people with visual impairments, it helps create a more inclusive workplace that benefits for all employees. To understand the professional inclusion of people with visual impairment, it essentially to consider the role of digital accessibility within contemporary organization. Today, a workplace is digitized. Access to information, communication with colleagues, task management, and performance monitoring all need a digital tool. In this context, digital accessibility is no longer a technical requirement. It has become a condition for equal participation in professional life. Digital accessibility refers to the ability of employees, regardless of their visual capability, to use a digital application, platforms, or software efficiently. For people with visual impair, whether they have low vision or blindness, inaccessible technology can constitute significant barrier to employee career development and daily work activity. The objective of digital accessibility is to eliminate this barrier for more facility to access information, navigation within digital system, and interaction with work-related tools. It contributes directly to employee autonomy and performance. To support this objective, several international standards have been developed, notably the WCAG guideline. These frameworks provide organizations with concrete criteria to ensure that website, application, and digital platform can be effectively used by people with disability. An important thing to understand is that accessibility benefits extended far beyond employees with disability. Many technology initially designed to meet the need of specific group have eventually become useful for everyone.
Ahmed, just a quick reminder that what you can do is just summarize the rest of the slides as we are out of time. So you have to wrap up within next 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, okay, okay. So the WC Canton is the most widely used international standard for digital accessibility, developed by World Wide Web Consortium. This standard aims to achieve digital inclusion for users with visual impairment. This accessibility of digital content is made possible by four fundamental principles, summarized by the acronym POUR: perceivable, usable, understandable, and robust. The principle of perseverance stipulates that all not non-textual content must have a textual alternative. This text should accompany image and scanned document. Digital content must be usable by everyone through universal design, which anticipates a variety of needs from the development stage. The standard also improves usability by ensuring that non-textual elements with a function, like buttons or links or controls, are identified through assistive technology. This makes navigation easier, especially using the keyboard for individuals with the motor or cognitive limitation. The WCAG guidelines stipulate that text description must illustrate the role and meaning of elements that are not displayed in text format to reduce the cognitive load on blind user to interpret and understand the meaning of this element. WCAG also supports robustness by promotion technical standards and systematic structuration that are compatible with assistive technology. Indeed, work software has regular updates for technical and functional reasons. These successive changes are most often done without taking into account the specific needs of blind user. Each change must ensure the compatibility of digital content to the constant evolution of tools and systems. Before this discussion, the inclusion of employees with disability impairments, organization must first ensure that their digital environment is accessible. This requires as a structured accessibility audit rather than isolated technical checks. The process began by identifying all digital tools in organization used within an organization, such as website, HR platforms, learning management system, business application, and all digital documents. The next step is to analyze the employee journey from recruitment to daily work activity to identify where accessibility barrier may arise. However, technical testing alone is not sufficient. Employees and candidates with disability should be actively involved in this evaluation process, as their experience help identify barriers that automated tools cannot detect. Finally, accessibility should not be treated as a one-time initiative. It must be integrated into design, acquisition, and continuous improvement of digital solutions to ensure that organizations remain inclusive as technology and workplace practice evolve. So digital accessibility is not merely a technical issue, but primarily a human research management subject. The HR function plays a central role in integration accessibility into recruitment, onboarding, and employee support practice to foster a culture of inclusion. The first challenge concerns recruitment, where digital barriers still limit access to visual disability at selection process. The goal is therefore to rethink the candidate journey for equal opportunity from the outset. Beyond recruitment, accessibility must be integrated from the design stage of digital tools in accordance with principle of universal design. This approach aims to create environments usable by the large audience and also provide adaptation for the specific needs of employees. And finally, this approach must be based on a comprehensive analysis of the workstation and its environment to identify the most relevant adaptation and will sustainable inclusion. The success of digital accessibility initiative depends first on the commitment of the women and the men who design, deploy, and use digital tools on the daily basis. This is why reason awareness and training all stakeholders in organization, developers, IT, HR, teams, manager, and employees are essentially for fostering for to fostering a culture of accessibility. Indeed, even when tools comply with standards, certain everyday practices can create new barriers, like sharing inaccessible document or content incompatible with screen readers. This difficulty are often linked to a lack of awareness and not a technology limitation. Digital accessibility must therefore be considered a change management approach. By developing an inclusive organization culture, the company promotes the sustainability of adoption of best practice and ensure that digital innovation benefits all employees regardless of or their ability. And finally, for conclusion, digital accessibility is now longer simply a technical or regulator requirement in some country. Is now represent a strategic lever for professional inclusion of people with disability. The WCAG standards provide a framework for organization to design accessibility digital environment, promoting autonomy, equal opportunity, and the participation of all employees. However, compliance with this standard can only be effective if it is a part of comprehensive approach. This approach requires regular audits of digital tools, the integration of accessibility for design stage of digital solution, the adaptation of HR practices for the employee journey, and the awareness and engagement for all stakeholders in organization. And thank you.
Yes, any questions from the session chair?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So, thank you for the presentation, Ahmed. You can stop sharing your screen.
Actually,
Okay.
it's too long, na, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, no issue. We continue.
Yeah. So, for the next presentation, we have Ben Abdullah Noihala. Uh, are you present in the session?
Hello, everyone. Yes, yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna
So,
share my screen.
yeah, make
Yes.
sure you do not make it very long. The core idea of this setup is to just know and understand the core idea. So I request everybody to please stick to the time.
Sure. Of
Yeah.
course. Can you just confirm to me if you can see my screen?
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you very much. So, hello, everyone. I'm Nuhaila bin Abdullah, one of the authors of this research. So, I'm pleased to present to you our research entitled Smart Logistic Dashboards and Data-Driven Decision Making, Empirical Evidence from Moroccan Manufacturing Industry. This research examines how smart logistic dashboards improve data-driven decision-making and operational performance in Moroccan manufacturing companies. So here is the outline of my presentation. First, I will introduce the research background and identify the research gap. Then I will present the research questions, objectives, and conceptual framework. After that, I will explain the methodology, discuss the main findings, and finally conclude with the contribution of the study. So let me start with an introduction. We are currently living in an area of digital transformation where companies generate large amount of logistic data every day. However, collecting data is not enough. Companies need smart tools that transform this information into better and faster decisions. This is why smart logistic dashboards have become an important strategic resource for improving operational performance. Previous studies show that smart logistic dashboards provide real-time visibility and support better managerial decisions. However, most exciting research has been conducted in developed countries. Very little empirical evidence is available for emerging economies, especially in Morocco. Therefore, our study aims to fill this gap by examining the relationship between smart logistic dashboards, data-driven decision-making, and operational performance in Moroccan manufacturing firms. So, based on this research gap, our main research question is, how do smart logistic dashboards improve data-driven decision-making and operational performance? And to answer to this question, we pursue three objectives. First, examine the effects of smart logistic dashboards on data-driven decision-making. Second, assess the impact of data-driven decision-making on operational performance. And finally, test the mediating role of data-driven decision-making. I will pass to show you the theoretical foundation and the key concepts. So before presenting our research model, it is important to define the main concepts of our research. First of all, smart logistic dashboards integrate data from different logistic activities and provide real-time KPI visualization. Data-driven decision-making refers to making decisions based on data rather than intuition. And operational performance is evaluated through efficiency, quality, and productivity. Finally, our study is grounded in the resource-based view theory, which explained that organizations achieve superior performance by efficiency using valuable strategic resources such as dashboards and data capabilities. So, based on this theoretical foundation, we developed our conceptual model. We proposed then three hypotheses. First, smart logistic dashboard positively influence data-driven decision-making. Second, data-driven decision-making positively affects operational performance. And finally, smart logistics dashboards also have a direct positive effect on operational performance. So I will present to you now the methodology. So to validate the proposed conceptual model, we adopted a quantitative cross-sectional research design that were collected from 101 Moroccan manufacturing firms using a structured questionnaire with the 5-point Likert scale. The responses were logistics, supply chain, operationals, and IT managers selected through purpose sampling. The questionnaire measured three constructs: smart logistic dashboards, data-driven decision-making, and operational performance. Finally, the hypotheses were tested using PLS SUM in a Smart PLS, allowing us to access both the measuring model and the structural relationships, including the mediation effects. This slide presents the profile of our sample. Most companies operate in the automotive sector, followed by construction and agri-food industries. Geographically, almost half of the firms are located in the region of Tangier Al-Hoceima, Tangier Tetouan Al-Hoceima, followed by Casablanca Stat. And this distribution reflects the main industrial regions in Morocco. I will pass to show you the results, beginning with the measurement model validation. First, I will evaluate the quality of the measurement model to ensure the reliability and the validity of our constructs. Then I will present the structural model and discuss the hypothesis testing results. So before testing our hypothesis, we first assessed the quality of the measurement model. As shown in this table, all reliability indicators exceeded the recommended thresholds. In addition, convergent validity and discriminant validity were successfully established using the AVE and HTNT ratio. Overall, these results confirm that our measurement model is reliable and valid for the hypothesis testing. We then tested the proposed hypothesis using the structural model. The results show that all the three hypotheses are supported. Smart logistic dashboard have a strong positive effect on data-driven decision making with the path coefficient of 0.60. Data-driven decision making also has a significant positive effect on operational performance with a coefficient of 0.55. And finally, smart logistic dashboards have a direct positive effect on operational performance, although this effect is weaker with a coefficient of 0.25. These findings also indicate that data-driven decision-making partially mediates the relationship between smart logistic dashboards and operational performance. So I will now discuss the implication of this finding and the main contribution of this study. So our findings highlight three main points. First, smart logistic dashboards helps manager make faster and more informed decisions by providing real-time information. Second, this better decision lead to higher operational performance through greater productivity, responsiveness, and efficiency. And finally, technology alone does not create value. Organizations must also develop the capacity to transform data into effective managerial decision. So this study makes both theoretical and managerial contribution. From a theoretical perspective, it extends the research-based view theory by showing that smart logistic dashboards are valuable strategic research and that data-driven decision-making is the capability that transforms these research into superior performance. From a managerial perspective, our findings encourage companies to invest in real-time dashboards, promote a data-driven culture, and strengthen their digital capabilities to improve operational performance. So, to conclude, our study demonstrates that smart logistic dashboards significantly improve data-driven decision-making, which in turn enhance operational performance. It also confirms that the important mediating role of data-driven decision-making. These findings provide valuable insight for both researchers and managers seeking to improve organizational performance through digital transformation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be happy to answer your question.
Anyone, any questions?
No questions, ma'am.
Sure. Yes, thank you so much for your presentation, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so up next we have Francisco Castro Murillo. Francisco, are you present in the session?
Yes, here I am.
Yes, so he's here to present his paper titled as Towards a Web Usability Laboratory for Visually Impaired Users, a Systematic Mapping Study. So you can start your presentation.
All right.
Yes.
Do you guys? Okay. It's ready. All right. Greetings. I am Francisco Castro Murillo from the Universidad Autónoma de Baja California Sur, and on behalf of my co-authors, I'll be presenting our work towards a web usability laboratory for visually impaired users, a systematic mapping study. Our goal is to provide the scientific evidence needed to build the foundations for an inclusive web usability laboratory, the MUX Lab. We structure the presentation in three phases. First, problem statement. Second, mapping methodology and results. And third, translating the identified gaps into the MUX Lab requirements. The World Health Organization reports that over 2.2 billion people live with visual impairment. However, complying with web content accessibility guidelines 2.1 does not guarantee a good user experience. A website can be technically accessible and still be frustrating for someone navigating with a screen reader. This disconnect happens because current UX evaluation is fragmented and lacks metrics for non-visual interactions. The problem has three dimensions. First, methodological fragmentation. Without a standardized guide, it's impossible to compare results across studies. Second, poor participant characterization. The literature generalized with terms like visually impaired users without distinguishing blindness, low vision, or the assistive technology used. And third, the absence of a broader science focused specifically on web platforms. Reviewing the literature, we found that Ross and Valentin in 2020 mapped design technologies, but 100% lacked software support and 82% were never evaluated with real users. On the other hand, Rodriguez in 2017 reviewed usability methods, but the coverage was outdated before Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 arrived and the shift to remote evaluation. Neither synthesize empirical UX in real web environments. That's the space our research occupies. Our objective is to synthesize empirical UX evaluation practices for visually impaired users on web platforms. To achieve this, we define 6 research questions. What methods are used? What platforms are evaluated? How are participants characterized? What assistive technologies are employed? What advantages and limitations are reported? And what research gaps exist? The answers directly inform the MUX Lab requirements. To ground this work, we rely on usability as defined by the International Organization for Standardization, focused on effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction, where for a blind user, efficiency is in visually scanning time but keystrokes. This is complemented by the user experience, which goes beyond to include cognitive load and perception of control. A site can meet every web content accessibility guidelines criteria, yet deliver a poor UX if audio navigation is tedious. Users rely on tools like JAWS, NVDA, VoiceOver, keyboard-only navigation, and screen magnifiers. Evaluation methods fall into 3 categories: inspection, user testing, and questionnaires like SUS or NASA TLX. The current problem is that no platform integrates screen reader logs, keyboard metrics, and session recording into a single environment. That's where MUX Lab comes from. Methodologically, we follow KLIS guidelines and the Prisma standards. We conducted a hybrid search strategy on IEEE Explore and Google Scholar, covering databases such as ACM, Springer, and ScienceDirect. Using the PICO framework, we filtered for visually impaired users, UX evaluation, and web platforms, limiting the timeframe from 2016 to 2026 across 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Portuguese. In the end, we retrieved 134 unique records. We included peer-reviewed empirical studies with full-text availability that evaluated UX on web platforms with blind or low vision users. We excluded studies that were mobile-only, focused on other disabilities, or presented only automated audits without real users. To reach the final sample, we followed the 4 Prisma stages. The strongest filter was during abstract reading, where we were very strict about empirical web-based studies. Finally, during full-text assessment, we excluded 4 articles due to access issues or being out of scope, consolidating the 18 high-quality studies we will analyze. We evaluated the studies using 8 human-computer interaction criteria, obtaining an average score of 6.5 out of 8. Most notably, all the studies met 100% on objective and method description,
Francisco,
but scored very low on
sorry
ethical
to
reporting.
interrupt. but you will have to wrap up in next few seconds.
Right.
Yes.
Um, well, all states met 100% on objectives and method descriptions, scored very low on ethical reporting and assistive technology detail. Interest in this topic grew significantly from 2020 onward, driven by the COVID-19 pandemic and the new web content accessibility guidelines. User testing is the dominant method, almost always combined with questionnaires like SUS or NASA TLX. But these general scales fail to measure the real effort of audio-based navigation. Participant profiling is the weakest point we found, as the graph shows. Well, sorry. As the bar shows, most evaluations are conducted on experimental pages, e-commerce, and education, but critical sectors like government, news, and banking are largely neglected, each at only 5.6%. And participant characterization is the weakest point we found, as the graph shows 1/3 of studies mixed blinded with low vision users, and another third used psyched participants with blindfolds, and nearly 28% did not include any person with an actual disability. The key takeaway from this graph is that nearly 44% of studies did not omit what assistive technology their participants used. Those studies that do specify, traditional tools like JAWS, VoiceOver, and NVDA dominate. On the screen, 3 clear examples stand out. The SOLDA validates remote testing. Barbosa achieves a SUS score of 88.6 using command-based interfaces. And Alcaraz detects twice as many problems as traditional web content accessibility guidelines audits. Yes. The last research question identifies 5 critical gaps. Gap number 1 is the academic industry disconnect, where validated frameworks never become commercial tools.
Francisco,
Gap
time
number
is
2
up. You'll have to wrap up.
is okay. Sorry.
Yes. Any questions, ma'am?
No, ma'am. Can continue with this.
Yes. Okay, so the last presentation for today, we have Vikas Pandey.
Yes, ma'am. May I start my presentation?
Yes, yes, you may start. He is here to
Okay.
present his paper, which is Zero, a desktop application for real-time privacy preserving plagiarism detection. So, Vikas, you can start.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, be aware of the time while you are presenting.
Definitely.
Your meeting is visible, the presentation is not visible, Vikas.
Ma'am, and presentation is not very visible. One
No.
second, ma'am.
When you click on the share button, you have to
Yes, ma'am.
choose the presentation tab and not the entire screen.
Okay. Presentation. Ma'am, is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible. You can start.
Okay, ma'am. So, first of all, good evening, everyone. I am Vikas, and I am from India. Today, I will presenting Zero, a real-time privacy-preserving plagiarism detection tool. And from the first of all, we talk about the problem. The problem is most plagiarized checkers today require us to upload our entire document to a third-party server. Though that works fine for coverage, but it breaks the privacy for unpublished research like legal drafts or sensitive corporate content. This is simply not acceptable, and the offline alternative that do exist uh, are outdated or vendor logged. So there is a clear gap. No modern cross-platform offline first tool exists that also gives interpretable, actionable feedback. So I have made that solution Zero that fills the gap. It's built on Electron.js version 29, giving us one code base across Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and it silently polls the clipboard every 4 seconds. And everything like TF-IDF scoring, sentence breakdown, and stylomatic analysis. It happens locally, and it completes in about 187 milliseconds on average. By default, zero uploads and zero accounts, an optional web scan in opt-in only. Uh, for the contribution, our main three contributions are: first, a hybrid detection pipeline. It is a local TF-IDF plus an optional web scan. The second is rewriting support. It is a flag sentence can be sent with user approval to an LLM for preserving rewrite. And the third is writing DNA, and it is a six stylometric features that catch stylistic inconsistencies that similarity scoring alone would miss. And for the system design, our architecture side, we follow a strict security first process. By by process design, all privilege operations like corpus loading, indexing, database, and it happens only in the main process using SQLite for persistence, and the render is fully sandboxed via context bridge and with no direct node or file system access, and communication is restricted to a whitelist, just 14 invoke and 6 send, and 5 receive channels. And for the detection algorithm, the math behind it is uh, that we combine the maximum similarity segment score and the mean score with equal 0. 0.5 and 0.5 weighting. The combined score is then mapped through an empirically derived piecewise function, and it has values below 2 mapped to original writing and above 13 mapped to structural borrowing and derived from our 60 sample test set. And and for optional web extension, for broader coverage, user can opt to in a web scan, and we can send the first 120 character to a search API and run a second TF-IDF pass on the snippets and label the result as the consistent, higher higher online or lower online. We also compute paraphrase risk using Jacquard similarity with a stem level bonus for a morphological variants. And for the stylometric layer, there is writing DNA adds a stylistic layer flagging passive voice above 40% or type token ratio below 30%, both grounded in Statomatos, Statomatos stylometric research, combining six features. This way it reduces the false positive from pure similar scoring. And uh, this is our key results. After recalibration, the average score on the original technical writing, uh, and the writing drops from 34.7% to just 9.8%, while verbatim copy detection stayed strong at 95%.
Vikas,
Yes, ma'am.
actually, your slides are not moving from a long time. Yeah, yeah, now it
I
is fine. Yes, 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 it is fine. You can
Okay, ma'am. Can I
continue.
show it like that?
Yeah, it is fine. You can start from where you stopped.
Okay. This the slide shows that this directly solved the positive problem that plagued naive TF-IDF scoring on the technical text. And after that, we goes on the performance and the positioning. In terms of positioning, zero is, as far as we know, the only tool that simultaneously offline and free, rewriting capable, clipboard driven, and cross platform growing going forward. And going forward, we release reproducible evaluation code, gather feedback on our stylometric threshold, and explore and explore it and gather feedback on stylometric thresholds. And at last, the related work. And thank you, and you can ask any questions if you want.
Okay. Shweta ma'am, ma'am, any questions?
No,
Deepika
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. So we are good to conclude then. Thank you so much, Vikas, for your presentation. You can stop sharing your screen, Vikas. Yes, so it was a fantastic session, and on behalf of the Global Knowledge Research Foundation, GR Scholastic, and the entire the World4S team, I sincerely thank all our authors for their excellent presentations, valuable research contributions, and active participation. A big thank you to all our attendees for making this session interactive and engaging. Your presence truly made a difference. As this is the 10th edition of WorldS4, we deeply appreciate your continued support over the years, and we look forward to welcoming you again for the 11th edition in 2027 as well. A few important announcements before we conclude. All presenters will be receiving their digital certificates via email within 2 working days, and the conference publication is expected to go live within 7 to 8 months. We kindly request your cooperation with the WorldS4 2026 team throughout the publication process. So, also, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our respected session chair, Dr. Deepika Saxena, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today, ma'am.
Thank you.
And this is a small token of appreciation on behalf of the entire GR Foundation and the WorldS4 team. Also, before we finally conclude, I would request everybody to please switch on their cameras for a few seconds so that I can quickly click a snapshot of this conference. Vikas, Anmol, everybody, yes. Okay, thank you all once again. Stay safe and have a wonderful day ahead, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.